Hello everybody, welcome to Most Wanted Topics. I'm your host, Kevin the Tank, along with me, Atomic Tommy, per use. How you doing?
We're great. We're standing. You know, I love doing the podcast in our new store. The backdrop, the feel, everything about it I love. I love that we have this table, which you can maybe kind of see a little bit of.
I love the new store. I love everything about it. I hope you guys do too, and I hope if you are on your plans to see it this summer, I hope we are a stop. We'd love to have you come and check out the store in person.
Absolutely.
We'd love to meet you. And I got to tell you, I hope everybody out there had a wonderful 4th of July. But we are back to business, and we have some fun stuff coming up this week.
Yeah.
Saturday, our official grand opening. We've been open now for just a little over a week. We got the soft opening out of the way. We've managed our pitfalls and figured out our flow of traffic. And now we're on to our grand opening on Saturday, July 12th. And from noon to 4, a big announcement. Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, wrestling legend, will be here from 12 to 4, signing autographs and just having a great time with everybody. Yeah. I hope you get a chance to come out and meet him. He is a fantastic person. We are excited to meet him in person here, and we're also going to have a prize wheel.
Yeah.
We'll start that right when we open. You can spin the wheel for a prize. We'll have other fun giveaways as well. Just going to be a fun atmosphere for our grand opening. But don't miss 12 to 4, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, here at Most Wanted Comics, signing autographs. For all the information, go to mostwantedcomics.com. And for all the details, and then you can see some of our other upcoming signings as well, because the second weekend of August, Paul Peltier will be here.
Yes.
So if you are a fan of comic book artists and art, you're going to want to meet Paul Peltier. He will be here the second weekend in August, so make sure you go to the website for details on that. And then another major announcement. Atomic
third announcement?
Are you ready?
A third major announcement?
3 banger announcements today. We want you to plan your calendars. August 16th, Lance Guest will be here from the movie The Last Starfighter. He was also in Halloween 2 and also Jaws the Revenge. But his main role was Alex Rogan in the movie The Last Starfighter, 80s sci-fi cult classic. He will be here, and it is going to be exciting. And that all the details for that will be coming up shortly on mostwantedcomics.com. So just start planning your calendar. We got a lot of fun things coming up. So let's talk about some things. Atomic Tommy, let's talk about comic books.
Yeah. I mean, before we do that, though, I have to say, we've told you guys to hang tight, to be patient. We've had a lot of questions on wrestlers. Obviously, what's coming next for us? Well, this is what's coming next. You just had to give us just a little bit, just a couple weeks to get settled, and we're right back in it.
We've been waiting to tell you guys this, and sorry we keep shaking the camera when he bumped the table. We're just so excited. It is just unbelievable. We've been so excited to tell you now we get to let the cat out of the bag. And we have even more stuff coming this fall, but we'll tell you about that later. Right now, let's review, because remember, Atomic Tommy said Captain America #1 was the comic to get. Did it disappoint?
No, it didn't. Usually at this point, I like to try and have a physical copy to show the camera. Well, I can't do that this week because we actually sold out of it, which is really, really nice. And it was really, really cool. Definitely kind of a different setting for Captain America, kind of a different setup in kind of the American history time frame. Usually Captain America comes out of the ice and, he's right in it with the Avengers. Well, this time they're kind of taking a different approach, working in some, war in the Middle East type themes and some ties to that. It's kind of a different point that we're seeing Captain America come back into the world in, so that's really, really interesting. Obviously, I'm a big Chip Zdarsky fan. I love that he's writing this character, and I think this is going to be a really, really cool Captain America story that kind of differs from what you might know and kind of does some interesting twists, some new things, and just kind of gives a different perspective on that story, which has been told before, but I think it'll be really cool this time around.
All right, cool. Well, what do you think is going to be the pick of the week next week for you?
Well, I was looking at the release schedule. Another kind of a light week. We do have one book similar to last week, and that being Fantastic Four #1. No more relevant time than right now for a Fantastic Four relaunch.
Oh, yeah.
And, honestly, they've kind of needed it. They've needed a fresh direction. The current Fantastic Four run had some fans, had kind of a following, but it never really blew me away. Didn't really hook me in anything, so I'm interested to have a new direction, to have a new jumping on point, to see maybe it can get me on the title this time around.
So we'll have the review of Fantastic Four #1, and we'll also have to review, because you know what movie comes out.
Superman.
Superman.
We're going to talk about Superman.
We're going to have to talk about the Superman movie next week also. So
I know we've been kind of lacking on the media product reviews lately. You know, I never talked about Daredevil. I never talked about Thunderbolts. Didn't really talk about Ironheart or any of that, but we're going to be bringing that back with a Superman discussion.
Yeah, we're going to talk
as
about
soon as
Superman.
we see it.
Excited to see that movie. What else is there? Is that about it?
That's going to be it for the comics this week.
For the comics this week? All right. Well, you know what else we have to talk about? A couple weeks ago, we took a family vacation.
Yes, we're a little bit late on this, but we went to Heroes Con.
We did, and we wanted to talk about
Con.
Heroes Con because we, as someone who's done as a vendor as a lot of shows around the country, and then going from the perspective as the customer, Heroes Con is probably the best con. I mean, a lot of people who know me personally know that I love Planet Comic Con in Kansas City.
I do too. It's a great show.
That is a great show. There's nothing wrong with Planet Comic Con at all. But Heroes Con is all comic book related and relevant.
Yeah.
So if you want a true comic book convention that's all comics and comic book art,
yes,
and legendary artists, Heroes Con is where to go. So if you want to plan a road trip to a true Comic Con at a big scale that's not in a hotel room, you really need to check out Heroes Con. It really didn't disappoint.
No.
We were very happy to go, and it was fun. And one big thing I noticed is even though they had a record sales crowd, it wasn't so packed. It wasn't shoulder to shoulder. You didn't feel like a sardine in a can, and you were able to look through books without people just cramming in next to you. It was just, I didn't know what to do with myself. There was you could actually walk in the aisles, and it wasn't people mad dash line to get to the celebrities. It was crazy good.
Yeah.
It was crazy good.
I think you really hit the nail on the head with all that. I agree with all of it. I think for me, one of the most interesting things was just the difference in crowd that I noticed. You know, obviously having been to, you know, Planet Comic Con, some of the fan expos, Galaxy Cons, things like that, it's a very different crowd of people at those shows compared to something like Heroes Con. And I think what it really exemplifies is sort of the current state of pop culture. You know, the crowd that you see at a fan expo, at a Planet Comic Con, at a Galaxy Con is not the crowd that you see at Heroes Con. Heroes Con, those are all comic collectors, and it's a very interesting demographic study looking at the ages of people that are there, you know, who's really left in the comic collecting space.
It's definitely a different dynamic.
That is I think, a discussion to go into at a later point. You know, who really is still collecting comics? What kind of crowd is that? Because the younger crowd that you might see at card shows or pop culture shows, they weren't at this one. They weren't here.
No.
Everybody at Heroes Con was
35 and up.
35 and up, and I think 35 and up is being pretty generous.
Yep.
So it's definitely a different crowd, definitely a different discussion, and definitely a pretty clear image on where this hobby is at a whole, you know, on a larger scale.
Yeah. They really need to get younger people in it.
They need to get younger people in it. And that's not me critiquing the show.
No, we're not ripping.
The show was great. It's just, it's really interesting. It's a different perspective than what you get if you go to a bigger
don't get us wrong. We're not
show.
ripping shows where all fandoms are welcome. I love combining the fandom community because everybody's got their thing, and we love getting that together where everyone's welcome. But the comic book, this was just such a good comic book show.
Yeah. It's different.
Tommy's right. It's just different dynamic. It's actual comic people that are just comics. They're not there to see celebrities. They're not there to brag about their fandom. They're just there to meet their artists.
Yeah.
Maybe get their favorite artist to do a signature, get some art.
There
get
was
the books.
None of the trinkets and trash. You know, none of the, prop gun things.
Yeah, and the craft stuff
fair.
was actually all related. It was just really cool stuff. It just it was just really cool. So that's our take on Heroes Con. But then we went into Joe Fest, which was
Georgia.
in Augusta, Georgia. And let me tell you, that didn't disappoint here. That was a real toy show.
Yes.
That was a fun toy show. And it was a good art show, too. There was art and there was toys. And it wasn't a big show either by any stretch of the imagination. But boy, did it feel big.
I was really surprised by that because, it is a small show. It's in a mall. It's in a hotel ballroom, right? But everybody there, it is a very focused show, much like Heroes Con, just on a slightly smaller scale. Everybody there, vendor-wise, toy-related. There was a lot of G.I. Joe art. There was even comic vendors, more comic vendors than I was expecting there. It was a really, really tightly knit convention, well-run, well-organized, and you could feel the community.
It was definitely a G.I. Joe community.
Yes.
It was definitely
you
G.I.
could
Joe
feel that passion.
Yeah, it was good. So anyway, we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but we wanted to let you know that we did have time to recharge the batteries as a family and get away for a week before we opened up the new store. But let me tell you, we're back in the game. We're re-energized. We're ready to work, and we're ready to have fun at the grand opening. So Saturday, July 12th. And make sure you smash the like button and make sure you follow us so you never miss an episode here.
And, let us know what you think about the setup. We're playing around with it.
Let us know about
We're
the setup of the store.
experimenting with it. This is obviously different than last week, and it'll probably be different next week. So let us know what you think, what you'd like to see different, improved, and we'll make those changes.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We will have recaps for you next week. Right. And, again, have a great week, everybody. We'll see you on Saturday, hopefully.